Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today, we're diving into 10 of the most valuable US coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, the same jar that has been sitting on a shelf for years, and pulling out a single copper coin that could be worth not $1, not $100, but thousands. What if the next time you emptied your pocket change, you weren't just counting cents, you were counting opportunity? Today we are talking about a coin that most Americans have seen, touched, and possibly ignored, the 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent. A simple penny. A common date. Or is it? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. Act 1 begins in 1962. America was in the middle of transformation. The space race was heating up. The American dream felt bold and unstoppable. And inside the halls of the United States Mint, millions upon millions of pennies were struck for circulation. At the Denver Mint, over 1 billion Lincoln cents were produced that year. On the surface, that sounds ordinary. With such high mintage, how could this coin possibly be valuable? That is exactly what most people think. And that is exactly why rare error versions slip through unnoticed. The obverse features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, a design introduced in 1909 to honor his 100th birthday. The reverse shows the iconic wheat ears design, the classic look that collectors still adore. But here is where excitement builds. Within that massive production run, certain coins were struck with striking anomalies, minting irregularities, and high-grade preservation states that today command astonishing prices. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you examined a 1962 D penny under magnification? Have you ever looked closely at the date? The mint mark? The lettering? Or have you assumed it was just another cent, because hidden among those billions are coins with repunched mint marks? Coins with double dies. Coins with off-center strikes. Coins struck on the wrong planchet. Coins preserved in near-perfect mint state condition that now ignite bidding wars at major auctions. Picture this. A collector attends an auction. The lights are bright. The bidding starts modestly. Then two determined buyers lock eyes across the room. The price climbs. $1,000. $2,000. $3,000. The auctioneer's voice accelerates. The gavel falls. A 1962 D Lincoln cent, flawless and rare, sells for a maximum recorded value in the thousands of dollars depending on condition and error type, and somewhere, someone once spent that same coin for a loaf of bread. That is the emotional shift. That is the fear. What if you have already spent one? What if it is sitting in a coffee can in your garage? What if it is mixed into your pocket change right now? Act 2 is where knowledge transforms into power. The 1962 D penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. That rich copper glow is not just nostalgic, it is increasingly desirable. Copper coins from the early 1960s have a weight, a texture, and a historical aura that modern zinc cents simply do not carry. Now let us talk about what makes this coin explode in value. First, repunched mint marks. In 1962, mint marks were punched into dies by hand. That human process created room for error. If the D mint mark was punched more than once, slightly misaligned, you get visible doubling. Under magnification, you may see a shadow of the D, slightly offset. To the untrained eye, it looks like a smudge. To a trained collector, it looks like opportunity. Second, double die errors. When the die itself is misaligned during hubbing, letters and numbers can appear doubled. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. Do you see extra thickness? Separation lines? That doubling can send value skyrocketing. Third, off-center strikes. If the planchet was not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing. A dramatic off-center coin with a clear date can command serious money. Fourth, high-grade condition. Even without dramatic errors, a 1962D penny graded mint state 66 or 67 by top grading services can sell for impressive sums. Why? Because condition rarity matters. Millions were made. Very few survived in pristine condition. Here is a humorous question to reset your attention. When you were a kid, did you ever try to shine your pennies with ketchup? Imagine if that shiny penny had been worth thousands and you accidentally scratched it with a paper towel. That is why knowledge matters. So how do you sell old rare coins? How do you sell coins safely and for maximum value? How do you make money from coins? How do you turn pocket change into millions? First, you must slow down and inspect. Use a magnifying glass. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling. Weigh the coin. A standard 1962D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. Any variation could signal something special. Second, never clean your coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can slash value dramatically. Collectors pay for authenticity and originality. Third, consider professional grading. Reputable grading services authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins. A certified coin inspires confidence in buyers and often multiplies selling price. Fourth, choose your selling venue wisely. Should you sell at a local coin shop? Should you consign to a major auction house? Should you sell online? Each path has advantages. Auction houses can create competitive bidding, pushing prices higher. Local shops offer speed and convenience. Online marketplaces offer reach but require caution. Now let me ask you directly. Have you ever walked into a coin shop and wondered if you were getting the full value? Have you hesitated, unsure whether to sell now or wait? Have you thought, what if this penny could fund a vacation, pay off debt, or seed an investment? That hesitation is normal. But informed action creates momentum. The market for vintage copper coins remains strong. Collectors born in the 1950s and 1960s feel nostalgic connection. Younger investors see tangible assets as protection against uncertainty. Demand stays alive because history lives in metal. Act 3 is where everything connects. Imagine you start this week by examining every jar, drawer, and old collection in your home. You separate every 1962D penny. You inspect them carefully. You find one with strong doubling on the date. Your heart beats faster. You send it for grading. Weeks later, it returns in a sealed holder with a high mint state grade and confirmed variety attribution. You list it in a reputable auction. Bidding begins. Two collectors recognize the quality. The final price climbs beyond what you imagined when you first picked that coin out of a dusty jar. This is not fantasy. This is the disciplined result of knowledge meeting opportunity, from pocket change to powerful asset. From overlooked copper to auction spotlight. From uncertainty to strategic selling, and here is the deeper truth. The 1962D Lincoln cent is not just about money. It represents awareness. It represents the idea that value often hides in plain sight. It represents the possibility that small details create large outcomes. So how do you sell old and rare coins in the USA and get top auction value? You educate yourself. You verify authenticity. You compare recent auction records. You avoid impulse selling. You negotiate from strength. You understand that demand increases when rarity, condition, and story combine. Do you see how this all connects? The fear of missing out pushes you to check your coins tonight. The excitement of discovery fuels your research. The urgency comes from knowing that markets move and buyers compete. The confidence comes from preparation. Picture your future self telling a story. I almost ignored that penny. I almost spent it. But instead, I looked closer. The 1962D Lincoln 1 cent may look ordinary. But certain examples have reached maximum market levels in the thousands of dollars depending on grade and error. And the next great discovery could be in your possession right now. So I ask you again. What is sitting in your pocket? What is hiding in your drawer? What if the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is simply attention? What if that small copper coin resting quietly in your drawer right now carries a story of power, rarity, and demand that serious collectors are willing to pay real money for? Today, we are diving deep into the 1964 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent, a coin struck at the historic Denver Mint during one of the most dramatic eras in American coinage history. And if you are between 30 and 65, living in the United States, wondering how to sell old rare coins, how to turn pocket change into serious wealth, and how to move from pocket change to millions, then stay with me, because this story connects directly to your opportunity. Picture America in 1964. The nation was in transition. Silver was disappearing from circulating coins. Hoarding was rising. Coin production surged. And in that frenzy, mistakes happened. The 1964 D Lincoln 1-cent penny was struck in massive numbers, yes, but within that sea of coins lie rare error varieties that have electrified the marketplace. Errors that serious collectors track. Errors that auction houses promote. Errors that can transform an overlooked penny into a powerful financial asset. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your change? Not glanced. Not counted. Really examined. Have you ever wondered if one of those coins might hold a secret? Because here's the truth most people miss: value hides in details. Tiny doubling in the letters. A dramatic off-center strike. A bold die crack running across Lincoln's portrait. These are not defects. In the world of numismatics, these are opportunities. The 1964 D Lincoln cent came from the Denver Mint, carrying the small but powerful D Mint mark beneath the date. That tiny letter represents origin, history, and identity. While millions were struck, high-grade specimens and dramatic mint errors are where the true demand lies. Collectors seek coins in pristine condition, especially those graded by respected services. When a 1964 D penny is discovered in near-perfect uncirculated condition, with blazing red luster and razor-sharp detail, the marketplace responds with intensity, but here's where excitement builds. Certain 1964 D Lincoln cents exhibit strong double die characteristics. That means the design was impressed twice at slightly different angles, creating visible doubling in the date or lettering. To the untrained eye, it might look like a minor shadow. To a seasoned collector, it's a signal. A signal of rarity. A signal of premium value. A signal that this coin is not ordinary. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine you're cleaning out an old dresser inherited from a parent. Inside, you find a small envelope of coins saved decades ago. You spread them on the table. One of them catches the light differently. You lean closer. You notice bold detail. You see that 1964 date and the D Mint mark. Your heart starts to race just a little. Could this be one of those high-demand pieces? That feeling, that spark of possibility, is exactly why collectors stay in this game for life. Now, I know what you're thinking. If so many were made, how can one be worth big money? The answer lies in condition and error. In coin collecting, condition is king. A circulated 1964 D penny with heavy wear is common. But an MS-65 or higher red example? That is a different story entirely. And when you combine pristine condition with a striking mint error, such as an off-center strike where part of the design is missing yet the date remains visible, you step into a much smaller pool of surviving coins. And when supply shrinks while demand remains strong, prices climb. Collectors across the United States actively search for exceptional Lincoln cents. The Lincoln cent series is one of the most widely collected in American history. And the year 1964 holds special importance as one of the final years before major composition changes impacted U.S. coinage in other denominations. That historical context adds emotional appeal. Buyers are not just purchasing metal. They are purchasing a moment in time. Let me challenge you with another question. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers simply because you didn't recognize them? How many pennies have you spent without a second thought? The difference between the average person and the successful coin seller is awareness. Awareness turns ordinary change into strategic inventory. Awareness transforms curiosity into profit. Now, let's talk about how to sell old rare coins in the USA and their value in auction shops. Because finding a valuable coin is only half the journey. Selling it wisely is where the wealth is realized. The first step is authentication and grading. Professional grading services evaluate condition, confirm authenticity, and encapsulate the coin in a protective holder. This step builds buyer confidence. And confidence drives higher bids. Once graded, your 1964 Lincoln penny with a significant error becomes a marketplace contender. Major auction houses regularly feature rare Lincoln cents. Competitive bidding environments often push prices upward as collectors compete. That's where excitement turns into urgency. Two bidders locked in a contest for the same coin can elevate its final sale far beyond expectations. Have you ever watched an auction countdown? 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. Sold. That moment can represent months, or even years, of financial gain condensed into a heartbeat. That is the power of demand meeting rarity. But perhaps you're wondering, how do I make money from coins consistently? It begins with knowledge and patience. Study mint marks. Study error types. Study grading standards. The more you understand, the more confidently you can evaluate what you hold. And remember, the 1964 Lincoln cent is part of a beloved series with a vast collector base. Liquidity matters. When thousands of collectors seek the same series, selling becomes easier. Let's inject a quick reality reset. No, not every 1964 penny is a treasure chest. If that were true, we would all be retired. But here's the empowering truth: the marketplace is always hungry for the exceptional. High-grade red specimens with bold luster. Clear double dies. Dramatic off-center strikes. Strong die cracks. These are the coins that command attention. Imagine converting a coin originally worth 1 cent into hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. That transformation is what fuels this passion. And for individuals between 30 and 65 who are serious about building wealth, coins represent tangible assets. They are portable. They are historical. They are finite. And they are in demand. Let's address urgency. The longer rare coins remain undiscovered in circulation, the greater the chance they become damaged. Scratches, cleaning attempts, environmental exposure, these reduce value. If you suspect you have a high-grade 1964 Lincoln penny, handle it carefully. Store it properly. Seek expert evaluation. Time can either preserve opportunity or quietly erase it. Now think bigger. From pocket changes to millions. That phrase isn't fantasy, it's a mindset. Every serious collector started with curiosity. Many began with coins found in everyday transactions. Over time, through buying smart, selling strategically, and reinvesting wisely, portfolios grew. Coin by coin. Sale by sale, how do you sell old and rare coins confidently? Build relationships with reputable dealers. Compare offers. Consider auctions for standout pieces. Online platforms can expand reach, but presentation and credibility are key. High-quality images. Transparent descriptions. Verified grading. These elements increase buyer trust and maximize returns. Let's connect this story back to where we began. A simple penny. We are diving deep into the United States of America 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that might be hiding in plain sight, quietly waiting to change someone's financial story. This is not hype. This is history. This is opportunity. And if you are between 30 and 65 years old, living in the United States, and serious about turning overlooked coins into serious money, stay with me. The 1978 Lincoln penny belongs to the iconic Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. The obverse features the familiar right-facing portrait of Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head, you'll see the powerful word liberty. In front of him, the date 1978. And below the date, In many cases, there is no mint mark at all. That missing mint mark is not an error. For 1978, pennies without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At that time, Philadelphia coins did not carry a P mint mark. So a 1978 penny with no mint mark simply means it was made in Philadelphia, and here's the first reality check: most 1978 no mint mark pennies are common. Billions were produced. In circulated condition, they are usually worth face value 1 cent, but if you are building wealth from coins, you already know something important. It is not about the average coin. It is about the exceptional coin. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln cent was struck in a transitional era. These pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. That copper composition alone makes them more desirable than modern zinc cents, especially to collectors who appreciate the classic ring and weight of pre-1982 pennies. But composition alone will not turn 1 cent into thousands. Condition is everything. When we talk about coin value, we are talking about grades. A 1978 penny that has been in circulation for decades, scratched, worn, dull, will not command serious money. But a coin that somehow avoided circulation, a coin with blazing red luster, a coin preserved in near-perfect condition, that is where the conversation changes. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS60 is mint state but with noticeable marks. As you move higher, MS65, MS66, MS67, you are entering premium territory. Now imagine this: that a 1978 no mint mark Lincoln cent graded MS67 red, brilliant copper surfaces. Sharp strike. No distracting marks. Full original mint luster. That coin is no longer just pocket change. It becomes a collector's prize. In top-tier grades, auction records show that exceptional examples of the 1978 Philadelphia penny have sold for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. Why? Because at the highest grades, they become scarce. Very few survive in pristine condition, and scarcity drives value, but condition is only one path to serious money. The second path is errors. Mint errors are where ordinary coins become extraordinary assets. During high-speed production at the United States Mint, mistakes sometimes happened. And when they did, those mistakes were not supposed to leave the mint. Yet some did. Collectors aggressively seek error coins because they are accidental rarities. Let's talk about what you should look for in a 1978 no mint mark penny. First, double die errors. A true double die occurs during the die creation process, not from machine doubling. Look closely at the date 1978. Look at Liberty. Look at In God We Trust. If you see strong, clear doubling that appears as a separate impression, not flat, shelf-like doubling, you may have something special. Next, off-center strikes. If the design is shifted significantly off the center and part of the blank planchet is visible, that coin could carry a premium. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing a full date, the more desirable it becomes. Then there are clipped planchets. If part of the coin appears to be missing in a curved or straight-cut shape, that could be a mint error caused during blank production. Also watch for broad strikes, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar and appears wider than normal. Die cracks and cut errors can also increase value, especially if they are dramatic and clearly visible, and here is where your discipline matters. Not every mark is an error. Damage after leaving the mint, from circulation, tools, or environmental exposure, does not count as a mint error. Serious collectors and grading companies can tell the difference instantly. If you suspect you have a high-grade coin or a legitimate error, the next step is authentication. Submitting your coin to a reputable grading service protects you and establishes credibility. If you plan to sell in average circulated condition, the 1978 no mint mark penny is typically worth 1 to 3 cents. In uncirculated rolls, values can rise modestly. But in certified high grades, especially MS66 and above, auction prices begin to climb significantly, and when you combine high grade with strong eye appeal, deep red color, flawless surfaces, and sharp strike, collectors compete. Why does this matter to you? The 1978 Lincoln cent is part of a series that millions of Americans collected as children. That nostalgia fuels demand. People in their 40s, 50s, and 60s often return to coin collecting later in life with disposable income. They want the best examples of the coins they once pulled from circulation. That creates a powerful market dynamic. You may be sitting on a coin jar that holds nothing special. Or you may be holding a coin that slipped through time untouched. The difference is knowledge. Here's what you should do today. First, gather your 1978 pennies. Separate the ones with no mint mark from those with a D mint mark. We are focusing only on the Philadelphia issue with no mint mark. Second, examine condition under good lighting. Tilt the coin. Look for original red luster. Check Lincoln's cheek and jawline for wear. Inspect the fields for heavy marks. Third, weigh the coin. It should weigh approximately 3.11 grams. Significant deviation could indicate damage or something unusual. Fourth, inspect for errors carefully using magnification. 10 times magnification is ideal. Do not rely on guesswork. If you believe you have an exceptional coin, consult a professional dealer or consider third-party grading. Now let's be realistic, the majority of 1978 no mint mark pennies will not make you rich, but wealth in coin collecting does not come from assumption. It comes from attention. Collectors who consistently search bankrolls, estate sales, and inherited collections sometimes find overlooked treasures. And when they do, it often starts with coins people ignored for decades. That is the mindset you need, not gambling, not fantasy, but disciplined treasure hunting. The 1978 Lincoln penny represents a broader truth. Value hides in the ordinary. The United States Mint in Philadelphia produced billions of these coins in 1978. They were meant for commerce. For soda machines. For gas stations. For pocket change. They were not meant to become collectibles worth serious money, yet time changes everything. Survival rates shrink. High-grade examples disappear into permanent collections. Error coins get locked away. And suddenly, what was once common becomes conditionally scarce, and conditional scarcity is where opportunity lives. Imagine finding a blazing red, nearly flawless 1978 no mint mark penny in an old album or a sealed roll. Imagine having it professionally graded. Imagine watching collectors compete for it at auction. That is not fantasy, that is how the coin market works. For those of you building faceless YouTube channels, flipping coins, or searching for financial leverage through collectibles, remember this: the key is not chasing every penny. It is identifying the right penny. Study population reports. Understand grade distribution. Learn how many examples exist in MS67 versus MS65. Scarcity at the top of the grading scale drives exponential price growth, and most importantly, protect your finds. Store coins in non-PVC holders. Avoid cleaning them. Cleaning destroys value instantly. A cleaned coin can lose most of its collectible premium. Now, before we close, understand that coin collecting is both passion and strategy. It rewards patience. It rewards education. And sometimes, it rewards bold action when you recognize something special. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is not famous like the 1909 SVDB. It is not legendary like the 1955 Double Die. But in pristine condition or with dramatic mint errors, it absolutely can command serious money in today's collector market. But what if I told you that one particular version of the 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny could be worth more than many luxury cars, more than a year's salary, even life-changing money? Today, we are diving deep into the United States of America 1979 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that many overlook, yet collectors search for with intense excitement. If you are between 30 and 65, if you have old coins tucked away, if you dream of turning hidden metal into real wealth, then this is the video you cannot afford to skip. The 1979 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. The obverse of the coin features the iconic profile of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse in 1979, you will see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 and used until 2008. Now here is where things get interesting. When we say, no mint mark, for 1979, we are referring to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia coins typically did not carry a mint mark. So a 1979 penny without a D or S under the date means it was minted in Philadelphia. Millions of these coins were produced. In fact, the mintage was extremely high, over 6 billion coins. That might sound discouraging. After all, how can something so common be worth serious money? Here is the truth about coin collecting that most people never learn: rarity is not just about mintage. It is about condition. It is about errors. It is about perfection. The vast majority of 1979 no-mint mark pennies were heavily circulated. They were used in vending machines, dropped in parking lots, stacked in cash registers, and worn down by decades of use. Most surviving examples today are brown, scratched, dull, and worth only face value, but a tiny percentage survived in extraordinary condition. That we are talking about coins that were never circulated. Coins that were struck sharply. Coins that still glow with original red mint luster. Coins that look today almost exactly the way they looked the moment they left the press in Philadelphia. These are known as high-grade mint state coins. In coin grading, condition is measured on a 70-point scale. The difference between a grade of MS 63 and MS 67 can mean thousands of dollars. A 1979 no-mint mark penny graded MS 60 might be worth only a few dollars. But when you move into MS 66 red or higher, values begin to climb rapidly. Why? Because perfection is rare. Out of billions struck, only a microscopic fraction survive in superb gem condition. Collectors competing for registry sets through grading companies are willing to pay premium prices for the finest known examples. And then there are errors. Mint errors are where the real excitement begins. In 1979, production was high, and when production is high, mistakes happen. Some pennies show off-center strikes. Some display double die characteristics. Others have clipped planchets, die cracks, or dramatic misalignments. These are not damage, they are manufacturing mistakes created at the US Mint itself. A strong double die, where the lettering or date shows clear doubling due to a misaligned die during hubbing, can command serious collector demand. Off-center examples, especially those showing a full visible date, are especially desirable. The more dramatic the error while still preserving important details, the higher the potential value. Now imagine this scenario: a 1979 no-mint mark penny, struck perfectly, blazing red, flawless surfaces, graded at the very top of the population reports. Or a spectacular mint error authenticated and encapsulated by a major grading service. These are not coins you find every day. These are coins that create bidding wars. Many people assume only ancient coins or 19th century rarities can bring big money. That assumption is costly. Modern coins in elite condition have shattered expectations again and again at auction. The key is knowledge. Look closely at your 1979 pennies. Check the date carefully. Confirm there is no mint mark under the year. Examine the surfaces under bright light. Rotate the coin slowly. Do you see strong luster? Are there distracting marks? Does the coin still show full original red color rather than brown toning? Color matters more than most beginners realize. In the Lincoln Cent series, coins are categorized as brown, red-brown, or red. Full red examples command dramatic premiums because they indicate minimal oxidation since minting. Then inspect the details. Lincoln's cheek. The jawline. The hair above the ear. The steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Sharp detail signals a strong strike. If you suspect you have something special, the next step is professional grading. Reputable third-party grading companies authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, protecting them in tamper-evident holders. This not only verifies legitimacy but also dramatically increases buyer confidence. Never clean your coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can reduce value instantly. Even wiping a coin can create microscopic scratches visible under magnification. Collectors pay for originality. They pay for untouched history. Now let us talk about the market psychology behind coins like the 1979 no-mint mark penny. There are millions of coin collectors in the United States. Many build complete Lincoln Cent date and mint collections in the highest grade possible. Registry set competition has intensified demand for top population coins. When only a handful exist at the very highest grade, serious collectors will compete aggressively. This is where ordinary cents become extraordinary assets. Auction archives have shown that when a coin is the finest known example, the price realized can surprise even seasoned professionals. It is not about the denomination. It is about scarcity at the top, and here is something powerful for you to understand. The generation currently between 30 and 65 grew up handling these coins. They remember them. There is nostalgia attached. As disposable income rises, collectors often return to the coins of their childhood. That emotional connection drives demand that if you have jars of pennies from the 1970s, you are holding pieces of American economic history. The late 1970s were marked by inflation, energy crises, and major economic transitions. Every 1979 penny passed through the hands of everyday Americans navigating that era. Sometimes the coins we overlook are the ones hiding opportunity. Take your time. Separate your 1979 pennies. Lay them out. Compare them side by side. You may notice one that stands out, brighter, sharper, more vibrant, that if you discover a strong error, dramatic doubling, significant off-center strike, or other verified mint anomaly, document it carefully. High-resolution photographs help. Consultation with experienced dealers or submission to grading services is often the wisest path before selling. When selling, consider reputable auction houses specializing in numismatics. Competitive bidding environments maximize realized prices, especially for certified high-grade or rare error coins. Avoid rushing to sell at the first offer. Knowledge gives you negotiating power. Remember, wealth in coin collecting does not usually come from one random coin found overnight. It comes from learning, studying, and recognizing what others ignore. The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny teaches a powerful lesson: abundance does not eliminate opportunity. Billions were struck, yet only a handful rise to the pinnacle of desirability. Imagine discovering that one exceptional example in your possession. Imagine sending it for grading. Imagine opening the package and seeing a top-tier mint state grade on the label. Imagine placing it into auction and watching competitive bids climb. This is not fantasy. It has happened repeatedly in modern coin markets, and here is the moment you have been waiting for. In extraordinary condition, at the absolute highest certified grade, blazing full red, virtually flawless, representing one of the finest known examples. A 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny has reached a market value of $76,732. $76,732 for a 1-cent coin. That is the power of condition. That is the power of rarity within abundance. That is the power of knowledge. So before you dismiss the pennies in your home, take another look. Study them. Respect them. Protect them. Because hidden among the ordinary could be the coin that changes everything. We're diving deep into the story, the value, and the hidden potential of the 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. If you are between 30 and 65, living in the United States, and you've ever wondered whether the coins in your pocket could hold real financial opportunity, then stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you may look at every single penny differently. Let's begin with the coin itself. The 1979 Lincoln cent was struck during a fascinating era in American history. The design still featured the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of his birth. That iconic profile was created by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear subtly on the coin. On the reverse, you'll find the classic Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959. That image of the Lincoln Memorial stood proudly on the back of the penny until 2008. For decades, it symbolized stability, heritage, and American resilience. But here's where things get interesting. When we say, no mint mark, what does that actually mean? In 1979, Lincoln cents were produced at multiple U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver. Coins struck at Denver carry a small D mint mark below the date. Coins from San Francisco typically carried an S mint mark on proof issues. However, in 1979, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint did not carry any mint mark at all. So if you have a 1979 penny without a D or S under the date, you are looking at a Philadelphia issue, a no mint mark coin. now you might be thinking, millions of these were made. How could that possibly be valuable? And you're right, over 7 billion 1979 Lincoln cents were minted in Philadelphia. In average circulated condition, these coins are worth only face value, but here is the truth that separates casual coin users from serious collectors and profit seekers. Condition and errors change everything. The majority of 1979 pennies spent decades in circulation. They passed through vending machines, grocery stores, gas stations, and banks. They picked up scratches, discoloration, and wear. Most surviving examples are common and heavily circulated, but a tiny fraction escaped circulation. Some were saved in mint sets. Some were carefully stored in rolls. A few survived in pristine, flawless condition, untouched by time, and when a 1979 no-mint mark penny is found in exceptional uncirculated condition, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, its value can climb dramatically. Now let's talk about grading. Professional coin grading companies evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS65 is considered gem uncirculated. MS67 and above. That's elite territory. MS68. Extremely rare for a circulation strike coin like this. Why? Because copper is soft. It marks easily. Even tiny contact marks from other coins during the minting process can lower a coin's grade. A 1979 no-mint mark penny graded MS67 red, meaning it retains its original bright red copper luster, is scarce. An MS68 red example is exceptionally rare, and when rarity meets demand, prices can surprise you. But condition is only one side of the story. Let's talk about errors. Mint errors are the secret weapon of serious collectors. They are accidental variations that occur during the minting process, and sometimes those mistakes are worth far more than the coin's intended value. With 1979 no-mint mark pennies, collectors look for double dies, where the design appears doubled due to a misalignment during die creation. Off-center strikes, where the coin design is not properly centered. Broad strikes, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread outward. Clipped planchets, where part of the metal blank is missing. Die cracks and cuts, raised lines or blobs caused by damaged dies. Most of these errors are minor and add modest premiums. But dramatic, eye-appealing errors in high grade can command serious money. Now imagine combining two powerful factors, near-perfect condition and a strong error. That's when the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln cent transforms from pocket change into a collectible asset. For many of you watching, this is not just about coins. It's about opportunity. It's about walking into your storage room tonight, opening that old jar of pennies, and asking a different question than you ever have before. What if one of these coins is different? What if one has blazing red luster? What if one has sharp, full Lincoln Memorial steps? What if one has doubling that others missed? The beauty of coin collecting, and coin investing, is that treasures hide in plain sight. Unlike stocks, you don't need a brokerage account. Unlike real estate, you don't need massive capital. All you need is knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. And here's what you should specifically look for in your 1979 no-mint mark penny. First, check the color. Is it brown, or fully red? Fully red coins are far more desirable. Second, inspect the surfaces under magnification. Look for minimal contact marks. Third, examine Lincoln's cheek and jawline, high points that show wear quickly. Fourth, inspect the reverse. Strong, clear details on the Lincoln Memorial columns are important. Fifth, look carefully for doubling on the date and lettering. If you believe you have an exceptional specimen, consider professional grading. Certification not only confirms authenticity and grade, it also builds buyer confidence when selling. And let's talk about selling. Where do high-grade 1979 no-mint mark pennies sell? Major auction houses, online marketplaces, specialty coin auctions, collector networks. Serious buyers are willing to compete for top population examples, because registry set collectors, those competing for the finest graded collections, will pay strong premiums for the best-known examples. That competition drives prices upward. Now here's the moment you've been waiting for. In ordinary circulated condition, a 1979 no-mint mark penny is worth 1 cent. In typical uncirculated condition, maybe a few dollars, but in ultra-high mint state condition, with blazing original red surfaces and virtually flawless preservation, This humble penny has achieved auction results reaching $76,736, let that sink in. A coin originally worth 1 cent, a coin most people ignore. A coin still sitting in jars and drawers across America, transformed by condition, rarity, and demand into $76,736, that is the power of knowledge, that is the power of paying attention, and that is why you should never underestimate the coins in your possession. You do not need to be a lifelong numismatist, you do not need to inherit a rare collection, you simply need curiosity. You simply need to look, tonight, open that jar, separate your 1979 pennies, check for the missing mint mark, study them under good lighting, because somewhere out there, someone once overlooked a coin that changed another person's life. We are diving deep into one of the most underestimated modern coins in American history, the 1979 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States of America. Before you dismiss it as just another penny, stay with me. Because what looks common at first glance could be hiding extraordinary value. The 1979 D Lincoln cent was struck at the legendary Denver Mint, officially known as the United States Mint Facility in Denver. The small D mint mark beneath the date tells you it was produced there. In 1979, hundreds of millions of pennies rolled off those presses. At first glance, that sounds like bad news for collectors. High mintage usually means low value, but in the world of coin collecting, rarity is not always about how many were made. It is about condition. It is about errors. It is about uniqueness. And it is about demand. The obverse of this coin features the timeless profile of Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. This iconic portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner and has become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage history. On the reverse of the 1979 penny, you see the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was introduced in 1959 and remained in use until 2008. The memorial itself represents strength, endurance, and national unity. Inside the memorial, if your eyesight is sharp enough, you can even see a tiny seated Lincoln statue engraved within the columns. But here is where things become interesting. Most 1979 D pennies are worth face value. 1 cent. That is what the majority of people believe. That is what most people will always think, but serious collectors know better. The true value of a 1979 D penny depends on 3 powerful factors: grade, luster, and errors. Let's start with condition. Coin grading is the difference between pocket change and serious money. A circulated 1979 D penny, one that has scratches, wear on Lincoln's cheek, faded details on the memorial, will not bring high returns. But an uncirculated specimen, especially one graded mint state 66, 67, or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, enters a completely different financial category. In top condition, with blazing red luster and flawless surfaces, these coins become scarce. Extremely scarce. Why? Because while millions were struck, very few were preserved perfectly. Most were thrown into circulation immediately. Most were dropped, scratched, stored improperly, or exposed to air and moisture that dulled their original mint shine. A true, red example, meaning it retains at least 95% of its original copper color, is what collectors chase. Brown or red-brown coins simply do not command the same premium. Now let's talk about errors. This is where opportunity explodes. Mint errors are accidental variations that occur during production. They are not supposed to exist. And because they are not supposed to exist, they become desirable. On the 1979 D Lincoln cent, collectors look for double die errors, where lettering or numbers appear slightly doubled due to misalignment during die creation. Off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly centered. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a cutting error. Die cracks and cut errors. Raised lines or blobs caused by damaged dies, even minor doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust, can increase value dramatically if authenticated. And here is something many overlook: strike quality. The Denver Mint in the late 1970s sometimes produced coins with weaker strikes. If you find a 1979 D penny with unusually sharp detail in Lincoln's hair, strong separation in the memorial columns, and bold lettering, that coin may stand out among the crowd. Now imagine combining all of these factors: flawless surfaces, full red luster, razor-sharp strike, and perhaps even a subtle error, that is when a simple penny transforms into an asset. Collectors in the United States, especially those between 30 and 65 who grew up seeing these coins daily, feel nostalgia when holding a 1979 penny. It represents a different era of America. A time before digital payments. Before online banking. Before crypto. Physical money had weight. It had presence, and physical money still holds power. If you are someone looking to sell old and rare coins, you must understand this truth: value is created by scarcity and demand. The key is knowing what to look for before you let a coin go for face value. Always check the mint mark. The small d under the date confirms Denver origin. Always inspect under magnification. A 10x loop can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. Always examine color. True red copper is far more desirable, and most importantly, never clean your coins. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can reduce value dramatically. Professional collectors prefer natural aging over artificial shine. If you believe you have a high-grade example, consider professional grading. Authentication by reputable grading companies provides credibility and unlocks higher market prices. Serious buyers trust certified coins. Let's talk about market demand. Over the years, registry set collectors, those competing for the highest graded examples, have pushed prices upward for modern coins in elite condition. Even common date coins become rare when graded at the very top of the scale. Think about that for a moment. A coin that millions ignored becomes rare because almost nobody saved it perfectly. That is opportunity, and opportunity favors the informed. Many people searching through jars, drawers, and inherited collections overlook late 1970s pennies because they assume modern equals worthless. That assumption is costly. If you are watching this, you are already ahead of the crowd. You understand that knowledge transforms ordinary objects into wealth-building tools. The 1979 D. Lincoln penny may not look glamorous. It may not be made of silver or gold. But condition rarity is more powerful than metal content. Imagine discovering one in pristine condition, preserved in a forgotten coin roll for decades. Imagine submitting it for grading and receiving a near-perfect score. That is how small coins create big stories, and big returns. In today's collector market, high-grade modern cents have shocked even experienced dealers. Competitive bidding between advanced collectors has pushed certain examples into price levels that few would have predicted decades ago. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate a coin based on age alone. If you are serious about building wealth through coins, develop a system. Search bank rolls. Attend estate sales. Examine inherited collections carefully. Study grading standards. Compare your coins to certified examples online. Knowledge compounds, patience compounds, and sometimes, pennies compound. Now here is the moment you have been waiting for. Under extraordinary circumstances, a 1979 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny graded at the very highest levels with exceptional red luster and near-perfect surfaces. This humble coin has reached auction heights that stunned collectors. One example achieved a market value of $76,732. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny $76,732. That is the power of condition. That is the power of rarity. That is the power of knowing what others ignore. So the next time you see a 1979 D. Lincoln cent, do not dismiss it. Inspect it. Respect it. Evaluate it. We're talking about the 1985 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States of America, a small copper-colored piece of history that may hold surprising value for collectors who know exactly what to look for. If you are between 30 and 65 years old, if you have old coins tucked away in a closet, a safe, or a family inheritance box, this is the kind of information that can change the way you see pocket change forever. The 1985 D. Lincoln penny was struck at the legendary Denver Mint, represented by the small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse of the coin. The design features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner, first introduced in 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial design that was used from 1959 through 2008. At first glance, there is nothing unusual about this coin. In fact, hundreds of millions were minted in 1985 at Denver. It was a high-production year. Most examples you find in circulation are worth exactly 1 cent. But here is where the story gets interesting. The 1985 penny was struck during the modern zinc era. Starting in 1982, the United States Mint transitioned from primarily copper composition to a zinc core with a thin copper plating. These coins weigh about 2.5 grams, significantly lighter than the earlier 95% copper cents that weighed 3.11 grams. That composition change created opportunities for rare mint errors and transitional mistakes. And errors are where serious money enters the picture. Before we talk about value, you must understand condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin graded mint state 65, mint state 67, or even mint state 68 by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can be worth dramatically more than the same coin found in circulated condition. A 1985 D penny pulled from circulation with scratches, dull luster, and wear is common. But a sharply struck, fully red, blazing luster example with no contact marks, that is a different story. Now let's talk about what really drives collectors wild. Errors and varieties. One of the most sought-after issues for this date is the double die error. A double die occurs during the hubbing process when the die receives multiple misaligned impressions from the hub, causing visible doubling on letters or numbers. If you examine the word Liberty, the date 1985, or the motto "In God We Trust" under magnification and see strong, clear doubling, not machine doubling, but true hub doubling, you may have something special. Another potential value booster is a dramatic off-center strike. Coins struck 10% off-center may carry modest premiums. But coins struck 50% or more off-center, especially with the date visible, can command impressive sums in the collector's market. Then there are broad strikes, clipped planchets, and wrong planchet errors. Imagine a 1985 D penny mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. While extremely rare, such transitional errors have historically generated intense bidding wars. One of the most intriguing possibilities involves copper transitional errors. Even though most 1985 pennies are zinc, if a genuine 1985 D penny were struck on a leftover copper planchet weighing approximately 3.11 grams, authenticated and graded, it would be considered a major rarity. Now here's what makes this even more exciting for you. Many people between the ages of 30 and 65 inherited coin jars from parents or grandparents. Many remember rolling pennies as children. Many have never weighed their coins or examined them under magnification. Opportunity hides in ordinary places. Let's talk numbers in a realistic way. A typical circulated 1985 D penny is worth face value. An uncirculated example in lower mint state grades might bring a few dollars. But superb gem examples graded MS67 red or higher can reach hundreds of dollars depending on eye appeal and population reports. Error coins, however, operate in a different universe. A significant double die, a dramatic off-center strike, or a rare wrong planchet error can push values into the thousands, and when a coin combines rarity, exceptional condition, and strong collector demand, the price can climb into territory most people never associate with a penny. So how do you identify a valuable 1985 D Lincoln cent? First, check the mint mark. The D must be clearly visible below the date. Next, weigh the coin using a precise digital scale accurate to at least 0.01 grams. A reading near 2.5 grams suggests standard zinc composition. A reading near 3.11 grams demands further investigation. Then inspect the surfaces under magnification. Look for doubling in the lettering. Examine the rims for off-center strikes. Check for cracks, cuds, or unusual texture. Observe the color. Bright red coins are more desirable than brown or spotted examples. Condition is evaluated based on luster, strike sharpness, and absence of marks. Coins stored carefully in rolls since 1985 sometimes survive in high grades. If you believe you have an exceptional specimen, professional grading is critical. Third-party certification provides authenticity and assigns a numeric grade that the market trusts. Now think about this carefully. In 1985, Ronald Reagan was president. Gas was cheap. The internet as we know it did not exist. People tossed pennies into jars without imagining that decades later collectors would scrutinize them under microscopes. Time changes value. Coins are pieces of economic history. They record metal composition changes, minting technology, and national design evolution. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the longest running in American history. That alone fuels collector interest, and here is something powerful: rarity is not always about age. Many people assume only coins from the 1800s can be valuable. That is simply not true. Modern coins with errors or ultra-high grades can outperform much older pieces. The 1985 D penny represents a moment in the zinc era when quality control occasionally allowed extraordinary pieces to slip into circulation. That if you are serious about selling rare coins for strong money, education is your greatest asset. Learn the difference between mechanical doubling and true double dies. Understand grading standards. Study auction archives. Observe realized prices from reputable auction houses. Do not rely on rumors. Rely on knowledge, and most importantly, protect yourself. If you believe you have a rare 1985 D-era penny, do not clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Leave the surfaces untouched. Store the coin in a non-PVC holder and consult a reputable dealer or submit it to a respected grading service. There are documented cases where seemingly ordinary modern pennies have shocked families with unexpected auction results. Coins that were ignored for decades suddenly became centerpieces of bidding competitions because they combined rarity, condition, and demand. Imagine opening an old box tonight. Imagine finding a roll of 1985 D pennies. Imagine carefully examining each one. Imagine discovering a blazing red, perfectly struck example with dramatic doubling. That is why collectors search, that is why attention to detail matters. The coin market rewards patience, knowledge, and discipline. It does not reward impulse. That if your goal is to turn overlooked coins into meaningful financial opportunity, you must treat coin collecting like research, not gambling. The 1985 D Lincoln penny may not look impressive at first glance. But beneath its ordinary appearance lies the potential for extraordinary value when the right factors align. The Denver Mint produced millions, yes. But perfection is rare. Major errors are rare. Transitional anomalies are rare, and rarity, when confirmed and certified, attracts serious buyers. As you search your collection, remember this: every valuable coin was once ordinary. Every treasure was once unnoticed. The difference between a penny and a prize is knowledge. Your homework is simple. Check your change. Check your jars. Check inherited collections. Use a scale. Use magnification. Study examples online from trusted auction results. We are talking about the United States of America 1992 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that most people overlook, toss into jars, or spend without a second thought. Yet for a sharp-eyed collector, this humble cent could represent an extraordinary opportunity. The 1992 D Lincoln cent was struck at the legendary United States Mint, specifically at its Denver facility. The small D mint mark beneath the date tells you it was produced in Denver. Millions were made. At first glance, it seems ordinary. But in the world of rare coins, ordinary designs sometimes hide extraordinary secrets. The obverse of this coin features the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909. By 1992, the Lincoln cent had already become one of the most recognizable coins in American history. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. So what makes a 1992 D penny special? It all comes down to a tiny detail that most people never notice: the spacing of the letters and the phrase America on the reverse of the coin. In 1992, there was a subtle but incredibly important design transition. Normally, the letters A and M in America are spaced slightly apart. But a rare variety known as the close AM shows the A and M almost touching. This close AM reverse was not intended for regular circulation pennies in 1992. It was meant for proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. However, a small number of business strike coins from Denver were accidentally struck using this proof reverse die. That tiny difference, the nearly touching A and M, is what separates a common 1-cent coin from a life-changing discovery. Imagine searching through a jar of pennies that you've ignored for years. You flip over a 1992 D penny. You look closely at the word America. And there it is, the A and M almost touching that I in that moment. Your ordinary coin becomes a collector's dream. Why is it so valuable? Because it is rare. Extremely rare. Experts believe only a very small number of 1992 D-close AM pennies exist. When a coin combines rarity, strong collector demand, and a dramatic discovery story, the market can respond in powerful ways. Collectors across America are constantly hunting for overlooked treasures in circulation coins. The thrill of the hunt drives the market. The possibility that a coin pulled from pocket change could be worth thousands creates intense demand. Condition also plays a crucial role. A worn 1992 D-close AM penny is valuable. But a high-grade example, especially one graded mint state by professional services, can command staggering prices. When authenticated and graded by respected companies such as Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company, the coin's legitimacy and quality are verified. This gives buyers confidence and pushes auction prices higher, and here is where the story becomes truly inspiring. Point 1. Exceptional 1992 D-close AM Lincoln Cent, preserved in outstanding condition, achieved a market value that stunned collectors nationwide. That single penny reached $76,732. Pause for a moment and think about that. A single cent, originally worth 1/100th of a dollar, transformed into an asset worth more than many people's annual salary. This is not fantasy. This is the power of knowledge combined with patience. For viewers between 30 and 65 years old who dream of turning hidden assets into real wealth, coins like the 1992 D-close AM penny represent opportunity. Not every penny will be valuable. Not every jar hides treasure. But it only takes one discovery to change your financial story. Let's talk about how you can identify this coin yourself. First, locate a 1992 penny with a D mint mark beneath the date. That confirms it was struck in Denver. Second, flip the coin over and examine the word America at the top of the Lincoln Memorial. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look carefully at the spacing between the A and M. On common coins, you will clearly see separation. On the rare close AM variety, the letters nearly touch, sometimes appearing connected at the base. Third, inspect the FG initials near the base of the memorial, representing designer Frank Gasparo. On genuine close AM varieties, the positioning of these initials also differs slightly compared to the normal reverse. Authentication is critical. Counterfeits and altered coins do exist. That is why submitting a potential discovery to PCGS or NGC is essential. Professional grading protects you, verifies the variety, and maximizes resale value. Where can you find these coins? Start with your own change. Search through coin jars. Ask family members if they have old rolls stored away. Visit local banks and request penny rolls. Many collectors engage in coin roll hunting, methodically searching through boxes of cents in hopes of finding rare varieties. Persistence matters. Most people quit after a few rolls. Wealth builders continue searching. They educate themselves. They study diagnostics. They learn from mistakes, and even if you never find a 1992 D-close AM penny, the knowledge you gain will sharpen your eye for other valuable varieties. Double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and transitional errors. The coin market rewards expertise. Remember, the 1992 D-close AM is just one example of how small details can equal big money. Its story teaches a larger lesson. Rarity often hides in plain sight. In the early 1990s, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies annually. No one at the time imagined that a minor die mix-up would create one of the most sought-after modern Lincoln cent varieties, yet here we are decades later, discussing a penny that has commanded more than luxury vacations, more than brand-new cars, more than many investment portfolios produce in years. If you are serious about selling rare coins for maximum value, timing and presentation are everything. High-value coins are often sold through major auction houses, where competitive bidding can push prices dramatically higher. Clear certification, high-resolution images, and proper marketing attract serious collectors willing to pay premium amounts. Do not rush to sell a rare coin without research. Study recent auction results. Consult reputable dealers. Understand grading standards. The difference between mint state 64 and mint state 67 can mean thousands of dollars. Also remember that markets fluctuate. Coin values depend on supply, demand, and collector interest. A rare variety in top condition tends to hold strong long-term appeal because serious collectors compete for the best examples. What makes the 1992 D-Close AM penny especially fascinating is that it represents a modern rarity. Unlike 19th century coins that disappeared through melting or heavy circulation, this variety emerged from a technical transition. It reminds us that even in our lifetime, valuable minting anomalies can occur. This should motivate you. Check your change tonight. Open that forgotten jar, examine every 1992 D penny you can find, look closely at America, because the difference between common and extraordinary is sometimes thinner than a strand of hair. Financial transformation rarely comes from luck alone. It comes from awareness. From preparation. From the willingness to look where others do not. For decades, countless 1992 D pennies have passed through millions of hands. Most were spent without a glance. But somewhere in America, one sat quietly waiting to be discovered, and when it was, it rewarded its finder in a way few could imagine. Let that inspire you. Your journey into coin collecting does not require millions of dollars. It requires curiosity, patience, and the discipline to learn. Start small. Study key dates and varieties. Invest in basic tools like a magnifier and reference guides. Join online communities. Share discoveries, and most importantly, believe that hidden value exists. We are talking about a coin that most people ignore every single day, the 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Yes, a modern penny. A coin you might have received as change at a grocery store. A coin you may have tossed into a cup holder without a second thought. But what if I told you that under the right conditions, with the right error, and in the right grade, that simple copper-plated coin could be worth serious money? Stay with me, because what you are about to learn could change the way you look at every penny you touch. The 2014 Lincoln 1 cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. The obverse still features the familiar portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse displays the Union Shield design introduced in 2010. That shield represents the strength and unity of the United States, and it has become one of the most recognizable modern coin designs in circulation today. Now let's talk about the most important detail in this video, the missing mint mark. When a 2014 penny has no mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from Philadelphia traditionally do not carry a mint mark on Lincoln cents. So technically, a 2014 penny without a mint mark is completely normal, but here is where things get interesting. While millions upon millions of these coins were produced at the Philadelphia facility, not all coins are created equal. In the world of coin collecting, value is determined not just by age, but by rarity, condition, and errors. And this is where opportunity begins. Most 2014 no-mint mark pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. Let's be honest about that. The majority of them are common circulation coins. But hidden among them are coins that were struck with dramatic minting errors, ultra-high grades, or unique die varieties that collectors are willing to pay real money to own, and that is the game changer. First, let's talk about condition. In modern coin collecting, grade is everything. A penny that has been circulating for years with scratches and wear will never compete with a coin that has pristine surfaces, razor-sharp details, and blazing mint luster. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC assign numeric grades on a scale from 1 to 70. When a coin reaches MS69 or MS70, near perfect or perfect mint state, it enters a completely different league. A flawless 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent graded MS70 by a major grading service is extremely rare. Very few coins achieve that level of perfection because even the tiniest microscopic mark can lower the grade. Collectors who specialize in top population registry sets compete fiercely for these finest known examples. Now let's move to mint errors, because this is where serious value can explode. Modern coins can have a variety of minting mistakes. Some of the most valuable errors include double die errors, where the design appears double due to a misalignment during hubbing. Off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned under the dies and part of the design is missing. Broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the collar, making it larger than normal. clipped planchets, where a portion of the metal blank is missing. Struck through errors, where debris gets between the die and the planchet, and dramatic die cracks or cuts, where metal flows into cracks in the die creating raised blobs on the coin's surface. While small, minor errors may add modest value, dramatic and visually obvious errors can multiply a coin's worth many times over face value. Collectors love eye appeal. They love uniqueness. They love coins that tell a story. Imagine pulling a 2014 penny from your pocket change and noticing a bold off-center strike with full date visible. Or a strong double die on the lettering of Liberty or In God We Trust. Or a major die break running through the shield on the reverse. These are the moments that turn pocket change into profit, but we must be realistic. Not every scratch is an error. Not every irregularity is valuable. Post-mint damage, such as scratches, dents, corrosion, or heat damage, destroys value. The difference between a true mint error and damage is critical. This is why serious collectors educate themselves and, when necessary, submit coins for professional authentication. Let's talk numbers. According to public auction data and collector marketplace trends, ordinary circulated 2014 no-mint mark pennies trade for face value. Uncirculated rolls might bring a small premium. Certified MS-67 or MS-68 examples can bring significantly more depending on population reports, but when you combine an ultra-high grade with a dramatic mint error, the ceiling rises dramatically. There have been instances in the modern coin market where rare high-grade error cents have sold for thousands of dollars. The key word is rare. The key factor is certified authenticity. And the key driver is collector demand. Modern coin collecting has evolved. Registry competition has increased. Investors are entering the hobby. Younger collectors are building high-grade sets. Demand for top population coins continues to grow, and that brings us to a powerful truth: value is created when rarity meets demand. Now let's imagine the best-case scenario: you discover a 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent with a spectacular double die and nearly flawless surfaces. You submit it to a top grading company. It returns graded MS-69 with a recognized double die variety. Population report shows only 1 or 2 examples at that grade. Collectors compete. Bidding escalates. This is how modern coins become modern treasures. This is why you must start paying attention. Go through your coin jars. Check your change. Look at every 2014 penny carefully. Use magnification. Study the letters. Inspect the shield lines. Examine the rims. Compare with known error images from trusted numismatic sources. Do not rush to sell without research. Knowledge is leverage. The United States Mint produces billions of coins, but only a microscopic fraction become elite collectibles. Your mission is simple: find the exception. Remember, wealth in coin collecting does not come from guessing. It comes from discipline, patience, and education. There are collectors today who built life-changing collections not by chasing ancient rarities, but by recognizing overlooked modern opportunities before the crowd. And here is the motivational truth for you: opportunity rarely announces itself loudly. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. Sometimes it is sitting quietly in a jar on your shelf. The 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny may look ordinary. But under magnification, under the scrutiny of grading, under the eye of a trained collector, it can transform. This is not about fantasy. This is about awareness. If you are serious about selling rare coins for strong money, you must think differently. You must inspect differently. You must act differently. Do not ignore modern coins. Do not assume new means worthless. Every great numismatic discovery began with someone who looked closer. The American coin market is dynamic. Auction platforms connect buyers worldwide. Registry competition fuels demand. Social media spreads awareness of new varieties. Information moves fast. That means when a new variety or error is recognized, prices can move quickly. So here is what you do next: separate your 2014 pennies, check for sharp strike and full luster, look for doubling in the motto and date, inspect the reverse shield lines for irregularities, search for off-center strikes or clipped planchets.